Hey, it's been a while since I've podcasted, but I wanted to put something out there. And weirdly, it kind of links in. As trainers, are we lazy? So I'm looking at our profession, I'm looking at things I'm seeing, and I'm seeing trainers who were once great step back into being average or below average. See trainers pick exercises and solutions that are easy, lazy. I'm seeing people look at education and then look for the lazy option. I see systems that are lazy. And so by that I mean we have a set of clients who rely on us. They rely on us to do the best we can, and the best we can takes effort. Now, I don't mean we're lazy as in we're not trying to help our clients. I mean that some things are really difficult, and perhaps lazy is less of the word and avoidable is a better word. But really, we should be looking for consistency, because consistency will build our business. Consistency will build our skill base. Consistency will build our knowledge base. But the reality is that's tough. Now the people who are listening to this, then you're part of my 6 die-hard fans, thank you. And probably now I've called you fans, you're like my 3 mates. But the point is, and hello mum, the point is here, what I'm talking about is that if a client comes to you from scratch, or they're a current client and they have a goal, then your responsibility is to go and read the research on that goal, and then to come up with a bottom line, which is to go with statistically the best choices for that client, for that goal. You, as a trainer, aren't a research scientist. So you have to work within the parameters you can to read the papers and understand them. But also, it means that you, because you're not a research scientist, you're not focused on just one part of the solution. You have to be focused on many parts of the solution. At the moment, people talk about the biopsychosocial model. And what they talk about it as if it's individual components that we should look at. I even saw a form on Facebook telling therapists that it's good to make your client feel better and to make your client feel like they trust you than it is to make them feel worse or to bully them. And that to me should be common sense. But the biopsychosocial model is in some cases encouraging people to split the 3 and make them competitive. There's quite a few people now talk about the psychosocial side and belittle some of the bio side, and they do that because they want that competition. We're quite ego driven, and it's lazy. What we really need to do is look at all 3 solutions to a problem, and then look at our client and then decide the magnitude to which we use one of the 3 individually, so they come together. I heard them described by a really good trainer actually, but describe them as lenses to look at the problem through. I think that's incorrect. I think it's better to consider them as coloured paints, and the client in front needs you to match the colour of paint they are. So everyone's a different colour, so everyone needs a different bit of red, yellow, blue, or whatever the colours are that you've got in front of you to come together to form the whatever colour the client is. By that, it's not too dissimilar from planes of motion. There is only one sort of projected position you go into in an exercise, but there are 3 planes of motion: sagittal, frontal, transverse. An exercise is never purely one of, it's always components of the 3, but really it's an amalgamation of the 3 where one of the 3 might stand out. So it's a colour thing again. If you imagine that every movement is a very specific colour, then what you'd start to do is you'd start to look at the different levels of each of the paints you add to get the colour you want. And that's, your ability to keep mixing those to get close to your client will depend on your experience and your ability to research. But laziness kicks in. People say things like, based on my experience, or I see these results, or if I wait for science, then I won't get the results I want. And the problem is that we can't afford to do that. This talk is about being lazy, but I think it's an unconscious lazy, where to deliver the best you can for clients, especially at the start, requires a shed load of reading and a shed load of understanding and finding out what words mean, and taking down a notepad and writing down things you don't understand, and then using resources to find them, looking for things like looking on YouTube at Khan Academy to understand statistics from papers, understanding how to differentiate between good papers and bad papers, and how to shortcut that when you need to. This podcast today was very nearly called Who's Best, the Practitioner or the Academic, but that's ridiculous. The academic and the practitioner, when working with a client, if they're both great, will be indistinguishable, because they both will have read papers and they both will then apply techniques based on what they've read. It won't be possible to distinguish between the two. But a bad academic will not be able to see out of their field of specialism, and their delivery might be cold. And so you'd see a cold, factual delivery to a person that would only take in their one area, or you'd see someone who's lacking knowledge in one of the other two, let's say colours or palettes, just delivers what they know to be true from the research they read, which might be very specific around their academic sort of leaning. But a bad practitioner, oh my, they're so full of themselves. They'll be saying, here's something I've done for years, I do it for my clients, I didn't wait for science, science is behind, science doesn't prove things. If you can't replace what I think works with something else, then that means science is terrible. Why should I wait for you? I should do something. But those people also get it wrong so often. The thin-soled shoes that were for the massive for running and connecting to the earth, and then actually when they did the science around them, one of the largest shoe companies then had to refund people because wearing them didn't prevent injury, wasn't a good choice. It wasn't necessarily a bad choice, but it wasn't doing what they said it would do. Taping, the big coloured taping, everyone had it, and yet the research wasn't there. And the problem is, the argument from a practitioner is, if I don't try things, how would people know what to research? But that's such a selfish viewpoint, because the client that comes to see the practitioner is saying, I need an answer based on your skills, your specialism, your ability to research and decipher facts that I don't have time or the ability to get to. I'm relying on you to deliver me the best you can based on the science that's available. Someone who goes to see an academic to enroll for a scientific experiment, completely different. They're like, right, I want to forward science, so I might not even be in the group getting the treatment, but I don't care because I understand the importance of it. And weirdly, the argument of the practitioner is, how will we know anything if we don't try new stuff? But actually, the role of the academic is to try and evaluate what works, what doesn't work. So to take the role away from the academic and put it in the lap of the practitioner is just a ridiculous thing. It should be the other way round. Now, where the practitioner is amazing is that they can take all the science across all the different areas and start to blend the levels of biopsychosocial delivery around their skill set and around their scope of practice and deliver the result or refer out the client for the result that will best help them. Coming back to lazy, the lazy option is just to do what you think you've heard might work. The lazy option is to look for the guru and to lean all over them and expect them to tell you and them to be right and them to be unbiased. I see it so much. Pre and postnatal is just full of guruism when the research is really interesting. It's really vague, but it's really interesting. I've seen people say, right, we're going to train your abs, and they start crunching and they start doing obliques, and you look and you think, well, this is not difficult, right? The abdominal muscle is not different to anyone else. The abdominal muscle starts to get excited when you lengthen it, and then it pulls you into a shortened position against the resistance. It works harder eccentrically than concentrically. If it works harder eccentrically more than concentrically, it'll probably hurt more the next few days, whatever you did to it. And yet people get stuck in crunches and oblique crunches and leg lifts, and you're like, think it through. Don't be lazy. The client who says they want to work their abdominals isn't giving you a good answer. Get into the whys and the so's. Find out what they really want. Really help them. Really connect with them. It's difficult. It might take a difficult conversation. You might have to work really hard on how you build rapport to allow that to happen. You're definitely going to have to work really hard on how you build your storytelling ability and you build experiences for your client. But the point is, that's what not being lazy is about. That's how you're going to earn your money. Don't try and label stuff. Try and find out what's best for your client. Don't let the industry build the narrative. Don't let them talk to you about what you should be talking about. Go out and find out what's compelling for your client, what will compel your client to move, and then go and find all the research you can and get in a group of other trainers who will debate that with you, and get good at debating so that you can get solutions. As you find a niche, your research will reduce because you'll always be looking up the same stuff, and it'll just be about keeping on top of what's out there. The problem is, and this is something that's really annoys me, is that a lot of trainers want the adulation that you get when you spend hours working hard to be a better trainer, and you research hard and you don't take anyone's word. You go and find it for yourself with the help of your community. There's a lot of trainers out there who want that. They want to just wear that badge that's the same as yours and have people say they're a great trainer like you are, but actually the lazy trainers aren't great. The trainers that give a good experience can get away with so much, but the trainers who can give a good experience and aren't lazy, who build their skills, who know what their clients want, and they find the research and they understand the research and they read dictionaries and learn statistics and they go the extra 10, 15 miles that no other trainer's doing, they're the ones that are going to be successful. And they're not going to be successful just through the years where they have abs and biceps and calves. They're going to be there through the times when they have kids and they put weight on, or they lose weight, or they look tired, or they lose their hair. I'm describing me. And so, but they're going to be there for a long time because they're going to have integrity, depth of knowledge, and clients are going to know to trust them to get out there. Okay, that's me done. But anyway, there you go. I hope that's useful to you. I'll probably do a few more of these soon. I'd love to see you on one of my courses. Click like special offers and stuff like that, you know. If you want to see what's going on, you can learn from me at the moment, and that might be fun. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.